Guys, welcome to the Jason Diaz channel. Today is officially our first podcast, and we have a very close friend of mine. We went to high school together. She's been killing it these last few years. Um, Vanessa Puga, otherwise known as V Fit. And I say Puga because, you got married recently,
Yeah.
and your husband is obviously here with us today being supportive, and as you said
Yeah.
earlier, he's always been supportive, which is
Yes.
something I admire,
Yeah.
because I've known you guys for a while now. And, I wanted to bring you on the show because, when I think of people, that I kind of grew up with,
hmm
right, and went to school with and have kept up with, I feel like you're just one of those people that has, always been a hard worker, has always strived for success. And, I feel like you're just a hustler.
Thank
So,
you.
I was like, who should I bring on to my first podcast? And you were the first person
Yeah.
I thought about. So, um, quickly just, let everybody kind of know. So I
Yeah.
have followers that don't know you,
hmm
and quickly just let them know, like, what you do right now. And yeah, pretty much what your business is
Cool.
about.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. It's cool to be like the first guest. So I am a trainer. I basically run my own business and I do boot camps, like semi-private training, and yeah, basically,
Nice. So,
yeah.
you run these boot camps,
Yes.
and I see that, I'm amazed. I see these videos, and you have like 20, 30, I don't know, like 40, 50 people there.
40 girls. Yeah. Usually.
I've seen you like at Irvine Spectrum, I think. And
Yeah.
I didn't even know you can work out there. I mean, how does that work? Like,
So that was actually with the brand Free People. So they reached out to me and we basically did an event to like promote one of their clothing line, their active line. So I basically was able to, they provided everything. I just came in and taught a class and we like released tickets, which was like super fun. Most of the times I do the boot camp at the gym I train out of, but it was really nice to like switch up the environment. And it was really nice. It was different. I was obviously like super honored to be able to do that. But yeah,
how does it feel to like have these, brands like reach out to you and say like, hey, we
yeah.
you're great and we want to have you here. I mean, how does that feel for you personally? Like, did you know
It's
that you were going to be
no.
in that position?
No, it's like surreal. It was like getting an email. It's like crazy because you just, I've always loved training. So to like see it now, like come to life, it's like crazy, but super grateful and like, just hoping to be able to like expand more and like reach more girls and obviously work with more brands that I love. It's always a blessing.
Yeah. So how many girls actually showed up? Because I remember seeing the video. There was like a lot of people there.
To the free people it was 50. We capped it out and we had to open it. So I
Damn.
think we had a total of 60. But we were only allowed a certain amount because of the space. But
Hmm.
we like sold it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
But
amazing. I
yeah.
mean, I don't see, I obviously I've been to a few private
Yeah.
gyms in the area in Orange
Yeah.
County, and um, I don't think I've ever seen anybody, give a class to like 50 people, right?
Yeah.
So, seeing that, it's just like, it makes me realize like how much influence you have, and and I know you have your girls that train with you
Yeah.
too. Um, one thing I was always kind of interested in, and I think I've said this before to
Mhm.
you, is just like, how do you manage to wake up at 4 a.m. and train these girls? Because most trainers, they're snoring at
Yeah.
4 a.m., right? And most people in general, right, they're
Yeah.
snoring. And I feel like, for someone to start grinding at 4 a.m., I mean, you really got to have some dedication. So, what is it that gets you up this early in the morning, and what is it that keeps you motivated, right, to look forward to your day?
I think a lot of it's actually the girls I train. So I train a lot of moms, and I mean, their days are crazy. A lot of them work and have kids, and unfortunately, the only time they have is like in the morning, like at 4 a.m. So I started doing 4 a.m.s for a lot of like my moms, and they always show up. They don't call out, nothing. So that obviously keeps me motivated to go. And if they're willing to get up and like work out, like who am I not to, be there for them? So yeah, it's just obviously my clients keep me motivated and their hard work and it's fun. Like I enjoy going there and obviously like them giving hard work and showing up and working on themselves. I think it's very inspirational, especially having full-time jobs and being moms and wives on top of it all. Like, they don't have to do that and they choose to. So yeah.
So how do you see it when like you have these moms, right, that have a busy schedule,
Hmm.
they're handling kids, maybe they're handling the job,
Yeah.
and they're still showing up to work out at 4 a.m. They're making it happen.
Yeah.
And then you have, maybe other clients who come by, or maybe not even clients, maybe potential,
Yeah.
people that hit you up and they're like, oh, wait, you know what? I can't make it at
Yeah.
5 a.m. or 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, how does that feel in the sense of like, does that kind of show you that maybe they're not as, motivated to put in the
Yeah.
effort or
Well, I think everyone's situation is differently. Like I know I have girls that like prefer at night, because maybe their husbands wake up early. So whatever it is, but I think the biggest thing is when people say I don't have time. You do
Mhm.
have time. You just don't want to make time for it. So if you want something, you're gonna make time for it. So when someone tells me that, or like I just don't have time, I'm like, okay, well then you just don't care about it, which is totally fine. It doesn't have to be a priority, but whoever wants to make a change or see a difference, they're gonna make time for it. So whether it's at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., like I said, these girls have everything going on and they still make time for it. So when someone tells me they're too tired or all this stuff, I'm like, just lazy. Basically,
Yeah.
if you want it, you're going to work for it and that's how you're going to get results. So I'm very lucky that obviously all my clients that come to me are very hardworking and, they show up for their sessions. Whatever time they pick, they know it's going to be best for them and works around their kids, like their husbands or, just their lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen that too, like on your stories, right? Like you share your
Yeah.
stories, you literally post them all the time.
Yeah.
And even, me just kind of going in and out of the stories, like I've seen girls on there who have made like amazing results.
Yeah.
Like, I'll see a
Yeah.
girl you trained maybe like 3 months ago. I'll see her again.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So would you say like what percentage would you say happens in the gym as far as results go, and what percentage would you say happens like when you're not there? Because I know you can't be there all the
Yeah.
time, right?
For sure.
But where does the effort fall in the results aspect? Like
I
if
think it's honestly 50-50 because one, they have to show up, right? Which that's like the hardest part and doing the work. But like you said, at the end of the day, they have to put in their work at home. And I'm there for my clients. They could text me anytime, like, if they need any help. But at the end of the day, they need to make those choices. Like I could tell them what they should eat or, where they should go work out. At the end of the day, they could tell me they went to work out and they might not. They might be at McDonald's. I don't know. But at the end of the day, those are the people that gets the results or the people that end up doing the work. And I could tell when we like check in, I could see who's actually like doing the work or who's not. But definitely 50-50, like showing up is hard, especially if you come in the afternoon after working a long day, like probably the last thing you want to do, but they make it happen.
do you ever going along that, do you ever have clients who maybe like they complain about not seeing the results, but
Yeah.
maybe you follow them on Instagram and you see them doing the
Yeah.
opposite of working towards their goal. Maybe
Yeah.
like what's the most common thing you see? Is it like the food? Is it the drinking? Is there anything that keeps the majority of people who don't see results? Is there something that keeps them from seeing the results outside of the gym? Or
Yeah, I think the most common is food, and that's just like a relationship with food. And I think as girls, we struggle, and the biggest thing is actually people not eating enough. A lot of my girls don't eat enough. A lot of females don't eat enough. They're so busy that we're like go go go, that we forget to eat, and actually like having time to making the time to actually eat is the biggest issue. So eating and then obviously like going out socially is just finding a balance. That's a big thing that I stress on them. It's like you don't need to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli like every single meal.
Mhm.
It's having a balance because you want it to be a lifestyle. You don't want to deprive yourself either because I feel like at some point you're going to binge or break. So all my girls have a cheat meal once a week. It's not going to kill them if they keep it 90% clean, 10% you want to go out, you want to live life. They have kids, they have partners, friends, you want to enjoy it. But yeah, I have some girls that will like, be seeing them at the club drinking their bottles. And so when it comes time for check-ins, definitely I'm like, well, how was a month? And they're all very honest, I'm like, how do you feel? Like before we even like step on the scale, they're like, oh, my food could have been better. Their sleep, sleep is a big one too. I have clients that work a lot. So stress, all that kind of plays a role. So it's really getting to know each of your client and like, their lifestyle and how that's going to affect their goals and progress.
And you said that you know because I've had trainers too in
Yeah.
the past who have helped me, and I know you said like you actually keep in touch with your clients like on the
Yes.
phone, like you're available to them
Yes.
practically 24/7. I mean,
Yes.
how do you manage to do that, and why is it that outside of the gym, right? Because many trainers will get paid for like the session,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
it's like you don't really get paid for like all that extra
No.
time that
Yeah.
you're accessible to them, right?
Yeah.
So what is it that keeps you from like maybe not like charging them more, or like being higher price just to have access to you? Because a lot of people, they'll charge you for their time,
Yeah.
right? So like
Yeah.
you got the 1 hour session or whatever, you get paid for that. But what is, there has to be something more than just money, obviously, because
Yeah.
you're doing this,
Yeah.
because you genuinely care, I
Yeah.
assume. Or why is it that you do this?
I feel like I love what I do, obviously, but I think I just created a relationship with all my clients,
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like I want to see them grow. And in order to see them grow, I need to make sure that I obviously like know their lifestyle and what's going on in their life, and just keeping them accountable. Sometimes you want that person, you have a question. If you're at the gym, like I should be there for you, and I don't think it's right that, if I see them for one session and like, okay, cool, see you like Tuesday, and I don't see you for like another 2-3 days. So I think just me being available for them, if they sometimes go out and eat somewhere, there's healthy choices right out. They might not know what it is. Like they could send me the menu. I'm like, okay, go with that. Like if you have options, go with that. And it
Mm-hmm.
just creates a lifestyle, right? A balance, and I'm able to create a relationship with them and where they feel comfortable and they're able to see progress. I want all my clients to see progress, and in order for that to happen, I need to be more available to them. And like I said, I care. It's not, I want to know what's going on in their lives, and I think that's like the easiest way.
Yeah, and I think that plays a big role in
Yeah.
why you have so much support, and why you actually get a lot of girls to train with you.
Yeah.
Because I follow trainers and I see them working with one client
Mm.
here, another client there, but it just seems like you're always you're training like 2-3 people, and like
Yeah.
you're giving them your full attention.
Yeah.
And so that's I think that's very admirable.
Yeah, thank you.
But so going away from like the whole training, like what were you doing before before the fitness, like so what is it that got you into saying, hey, like I want to help others,
Yeah.
with their fitness goals, whether it's weight loss
Yeah.
or muscle building? Like what is it that really inspired you to start this business and go after it, right? Maybe
Yeah.
quit your 9 to 5,
Yeah.
and say like, what, I'm going all in
Yeah.
on this.
So I used to manage a restaurant while I was going to college, and I was going to Cal State Fullerton for my degree in child development. So I knew I wanted to like help people. That's all I
Mm-hmm.
knew, and I thought it was like kids. I love kids, so I thought that's what I wanted to do, and I love the courses, and I love that I still have that degree. So once I graduated college, I went into teaching at a private school, and I loved it. But fitness has always been like a part of my life. I grew up playing sports. I played soccer, and then the gym just kind of became something I did after I graduated high school because I had nothing to do. Like all I knew was like soccer. That's all I would do. So I got into the gym. Back then there was like obviously not a lot of girls lifting, so it was a lot of cardio, abs, and it kind of grew. It grew more, and it was just a safe space for myself. Like I would go at night after work, and I think I just started like posting on Instagram, and people just like ask little things. But obviously my main focus was like my 9 to 5 teaching after I quit. And then slowly, I think when COVID hit, I actually started doing outdoor workouts with my husband now, but my boyfriend at the time. We would do little boot camps at the Fullerton field because it was like the gyms were closed, so we had like nothing else to do, and people started like, "Oh, invite me next time." So I started hosting like boot camps.
Nice.
Yeah, in the middle of the night, basically at 5 a.m. we would go to like a park, and I would have like minimal like equipment, like whatever I had. We would do like ropes. We would run like in the middle of the parking lot, basically, like barely any light. And it started like that, and it grew. I ended up having like 20, 30 girls, and I would do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like 5 a.m. And that was all during COVID. So I was like working remotely teaching. And when we went back to work basically after COVID, I realized I like didn't love exactly what I did anymore. I loved it, but I felt like I couldn't give both like my 100%. Because then obviously I started training and people were asking me questions. And like I said, I like to be very involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like working and people were like texting me, and I felt like I just couldn't like give my 100% to like either or. And teaching, I just realized like it just wasn't for me. Like as much as I loved it, I was like, I didn't see myself doing it long term, especially when I had kids. Like I couldn't see myself like just dropping off my kids and like going to teach other kids, you know, not
Yeah.
spending time with them. So that was obviously a big thing. And like I said, it started to grow my business, and I loved seeing people grow and love fitness and feeling healthy. And I think COVID made a lot of people realize that we need to take care of our health. And yeah, from there, kind of like just all
So,
went.
so pretty much, you know, you started off kind of, you know, you didn't have a gym, you weren't paying
Mm-mm.
like for a spot. So, you know, going back to even the whole idea, right, of like many people who want to get in the field, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I need to find a gym to train my
Yeah.
my clients at, right? And maybe they're worried about the perfect gym, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, from what it sounds like, it's kind of like you weren't really worried about those things. You were just kind of worried about making it happen, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just creating a space where people could work out. Like I said, there was no gyms open, and a lot of these girls had never worked out before. So it's kind of like 1% brought their friend, and it was like just a thing. They motivate each other to get up at 5, like I said, to literally work out in the middle of a parking lot. But it was fun, you know, it was something different. They were moving their bodies. And like I said, it was a big group of girls, and I still train some of my girls that literally from the park.
Nice.
And then from there, I did start training like at my home gym. So small little gym. A lot of my clients decided to do more private. So I did semi-private there. And that's when I fully quit my job. So I was still doing the boot camps and like teaching at the same time. And when I went into actually like training, that's when I quit
So
my job.
when you know, so you know, I know you quit your job.
Mm-hmm.
When you quit your job, I mean, was there any like fear, any doubt running through your head, right? Because you know, kind of like me too, right? Like when I opened up my
Yeah.
business, like you know, there was all my mind was just filled with all these fears and
Yeah.
doubts and like, what if I fail? So like, what did that look like in you know in your life when you
Yeah.
said, hey, you know what, like I'm gonna leave this behind, right? I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks, or I don't know if you just quit on the spot, but you know, like what did that feel like, right? What feelings were, what emotions were you feeling, you know, the day you quit, and what is it that really pushed you over the cliff to say, you know what, I'm gonna go full
Yeah.
100%, you know, I'm gonna double down on myself and
Yeah.
do this.
It was super scary. I was scared to get my 2 weeks. I think I kept waiting to give, like, talk to my director. But I think at the end of the day, I realized like I wanted to do that. And I think also having like the right partner person right next to you really helps. My husband now, I think he has such a great mindset, which I think if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have done it, because he really convinced me. He's like, you could do it. And worst case scenario, you could always go back. You have that degree, right? Like, you don't know if you don't give it a try. So I just decided, like, as much as I was scared, I think I was really scared when I did it. And afterwards, like, it just felt right. At the moment afterwards, I was like, cool, I'm done, you know? I finished it out my 2 weeks and then obviously started training, but it just felt right. Like, doing it, like, even though I work more, whatever it may be, I love it way more than like just working for someone else and, you know, not doing something I don't love. But definitely just going for it and having the right support was like such a big help.
Nice.
Yeah.
Heido, how many people do we have on the live?
11.
Nice. So there's some people watching.
Yeah.
Is there anybody asking questions or anything that they want to get answered?
Nobody's asking questions,
You
but
can ask questions.
we did get some comments. I'll read it out to you.
Oh,
Nice.
let's see.
Let me see. Oh, you know what? There is a question. How old were you when you started working out?
That's a good one. So let's go back to that question right now, because
Okay.
you know I wanted to kind of go back on the importance of having the right, you know, being surrounded by the right people, and in your case, being surrounded by the right partner, right?
Yeah.
Because what could have been had he said like, you know what, like maybe you should play it safe and like, you know, you have a
Yeah.
good job, you know, how would that have like planned out if you know you would have actually had a non-supportive partner? So I want you to kind of just go into like how important it is, right,
Yeah.
to have the right person in your corner
Yeah.
and
I think I would
be
still be
supportive.
working at the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Like, I like to keep things safe. And I feel like now it's changed. I'm like more, I try new things. But before I was definitely just more like safety, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, I think just surrounding yourself with people that like see better in you and just like push you. And that's why I try to do even with some of my clients. Like you could do it. I mean, like literally the worst thing that could happen is you just go back and do what you were doing. And same thing when I moved from like doing my home gym to an actual gym. Like you obviously have to pay rent, you have to get like all this stuff, right? And that was a scary thing as well because I didn't have to pay out my house, it was just the rent. But like he said, same thing. If it doesn't work out, you just go back. There's always, you could always fall back on something else. And I mean, it doesn't hurt to try because it could turn out to something even better, which in my case, I'm very lucky it did.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's very important. And, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I've
Yeah.
known both of you guys, and it's
Yeah.
always like you guys are like a dynamic duo, right? Like
Yeah.
you guys support each other. You support him too because he has a business.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've ordered food from you guys
Yeah.
before. Like you would drop it off, or he
Yeah.
would, and it's kind of like you both support each other in
Yeah.
your ventures, and I think that's very admirable too.
Yeah,
and
thank
I don't think a lot of people for the most part have like the most supporting
Yeah.
partner, right?
Mhm.
So but yeah, so what was the question, Heido?
How old were you when you started working out?
Actually, like the gym, 18. So literally when I graduated college, but I literally just did like cardio and like abs. And then my dad would go to the gym. So on the weekends, I would like go with him and sneak upstairs and do like upper body because he would show me what to do. But I think really got into the gym, like lifting, probably when I was like 20, 21. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So even going back into that whole when you first started working
Yeah.
out and stuff like that. It seems like you've always been very driven, right?
Yeah.
Like you've been a very driven person because one thing I've noticed is like as humans we follow patterns,
Yeah.
right? So and we're creatures of habit, right?
Yeah.
So if you've always been driven, then more like
Yeah.
if you've been driven since you were 15, 14, then most likely you're still going to be driven
Yeah.
when you're 30, right?
Yeah.
So how did how did your childhood or like your upbringing, do you feel like that impacted the person that you are today? Did that make you hungrier? Did
Yeah.
like how was Vanessa's life in like
Yeah.
maybe her high school era? Like
Yeah.
did you dream of having the nice car? Like I mean, I know
Yeah.
you just we tinted your car, so
Yeah.
you have a Porsche Cayenne, it's
Yeah.
beautiful, and
Thank
so driving a nice SUV now, like how did Vanessa at maybe like 15 to 18, like
Yeah.
did you see this coming? Did you always know you wanted
Yeah.
to live a good life, or how did that look like for you?
I definitely like nice things, but my dad definitely did not make it easy. Like I think a lot of my like just hard work comes like from my dad. My dad's a super hard worker, and he always just taught me like he gave me the necessities, but he definitely taught me like you have to work for what you want. And growing up, like I said, I played sports, and they were all very supportive of that. And I think that also played a huge role. I think just playing sports, you become very disciplined and like competitive, driven. And yeah, once I graduated, obviously from high school, like straight to working. You want a car, you're gonna have to pay for it. They gave me a car, but you have to pay for it. So everything definitely was earned. And my dad's like, you work what you get what you work for. So definitely I think my parents have a big impact on that.
Yeah, I agree. And then I also had kind of similar story to that, so I definitely agree with that. And then just kind of tying back to the whole training and starting your business, would you say that if you could, would you start earlier than when you did? Would you let's hypothetically say you were able to start 8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Would you have done it, or would you have kept that timeline that you've been at right now?
I want to say I would have liked to start it earlier, but I don't think it would have worked out because the fitness industry was so different before. I think, like I mentioned, I started during COVID. I think that made a lot of people realize how important our health was, or health is. And also, like, there was not a lot of like private gyms. It was very much just like personal training at 24-hour fitness, like more of like the public gyms, which it wasn't like good to be a trainer there. You weren't compensated, and you had to go through like so much stuff. So I don't think it would have like worked out like how it did now. And also I think I had to go through a lot of experiences like on myself, like through my own fitness journey to be able to help all my girls like now how I do.
I see.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like a big important thing, I think, right? So even up to a few years ago, like let's just hypothetically say like 2019, right? A
Mhm.
little bit before COVID, there wasn't a lot of private gyms, right?
No.
Now I feel like, there's so many of
Yeah.
them. There's so many private gyms, and um, there's a lot of competition,
Mhm.
obviously, and I say competition not in between like the gyms themselves,
Yeah.
but more or less like in the trainers, right? Like,
Yes.
so I've come to see that there's people that, and I've seen this firsthand, right? Like, someone will train with, another trainer
Yeah.
for maybe 5 6 months,
Uh-huh.
and then I see that person starting to train others.
Yeah.
So, we've seen this like compounding effect of like people, before you used to get certified, right? Like
Yeah.
there was like the
Well, you
the
still should,
certification,
but I don't know if
and
people do it anymore.
so how does that look in the sense, and you can pull the mic a little bit closer if you want.
There?
Um,
Okay.
so how does that look, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I know back when, I was training and stuff like that, like there was always a certification,
Yeah.
and you had to be like, was there like ISSA or something like that?
There's ISSA, there's NASA,
There you
and
go.
there's
And now,
Yeah.
you have people who, you know, I mean, guys, sometimes there's guys that are freaking massive, right? They're super huge, they're
Yeah.
bodybuilders, or,
Yeah.
maybe their physique
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So, how does that impact? I mean, have you ever had, people that have tried to, maybe get those long-term clients that you've had, because there's so much competition, right? So I assume
Yeah.
that maybe in a gym, especially if it's small,
Yeah.
and like I said, I've seen personally, like someone being trained by a trainer for 6 months, and then that person who got trained is now trying to take on,
Become a
like
trainer.
become a trainer and take on like 2 3 people based off what that other guy showed him.
Yeah.
So, have you ever encountered something like that where like, maybe you've had like great long-term clients, and they hit you up for training, and maybe you have other trainers who try to get your clients because they don't have enough clients. I mean, has that ever happened to you, or?
I feel like it's very cutthroat, like in the whole industry. Like I feel like that happens. Like I'll have, and not even like within the gym. Like you'll have other trainers like reach out, because a lot of trainers, that's how they get their businesses, reaching out like via like messages, and like hitting them up. Which, like it's, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a cutthroat business and it's fine. But that's one thing, is like you just have to find your niche, and like people come to you for a reason. So if someone wants to take your client, then cool. I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I know what I provide to my clients, and that's why I stick true to what I do. But like you were saying, like people that get trained becoming trainers, there's a lot of that going on now. And that's the thing, is like you could be in great physique, but that doesn't mean you know how to like handle everyone's body, right? That's why taking classes is like super important. And like everyone's completely different. So I think everyone sees it like glamorized, because you get to make your own schedule and you get to be at the gym all the time. But it's so much work. You deal with like, these are people's lives, right? Like their health. Like it's not something easy. And just because you love to work out, that doesn't mean you could become a trainer, unless you literally have the passion for it. Then yeah, like, totally go for it. But it's not as easy as it seems. And that's why I think there's like such a big turnover rate with like people becoming trainers, and then it doesn't work out, because a lot of them are just, unfortunately, like money hungry, and they just, because you could charge a good amount depending where you're at. You could charge a good amount of money per session, and like, people don't know. I've had clients that came and they're like, yeah, like they were charging me whatever. They start off like $25 a session. Obviously, that's not a lot, but they're like, yeah, the quality was like not great. They're training like certain things that would make them do. They're like, you could totally tell the difference of like between trainers. But like I said, everyone just has their own style. Every trainer has their own style, and that's how they're going to attract, their clients.
Right on. And
Yeah.
right now, are you taking on any new clients? I know you're
Right
really busy.
now, I don't. I have a wait list, so I like reach out or like post on my story when I have openings. But thankfully, right now, like I have been busy. But yeah,
And
I always when I can, I like try to take on clients, but definitely gets harder.
right on.
Yeah.
So do you, what do you see as like the next stepping stone for you as far as like the whole training, right? Because
Yeah.
you have such a large support,
Yeah.
and I think you have such a large influence, right, on a lot of women.
Yeah.
And they look up to you, and obviously a lot of them follow what
Yeah.
you do, and they're hardworking women. What's like the next step that you kind of see in the whole training aspect?
Yeah.
Like, is there something that you're looking forward to, or like
Yeah.
maybe you're keeping in mind for the future?
Yeah. Definitely, like my next step would be to open up a facility. I feel like that's always been my goal since I started training. Like, I want to open up a gym, and I want it to be a place where obviously they feel safe. And like I said, a lot of my clients are moms, and a lot of their kids actually work out. So actually, like right now in the summer, they bring their kids, and I put them through little sessions. You've probably seen all my stories. Like the little kids are
Yeah.
working out, and they love it because they see their parents working out. And I think that's such an amazing thing because that's our next generation. So just building those healthy habits, and they're like, I want to work out like my mom or like my dad. So definitely building a facility where we could have like kids boot camps and like, you know, just a whole family aspect to it, and just create these big events where I'm able to take on more girls and like host boot camps at night. Right now, like the gyms, obviously we have to keep it limited, so we can only train a certain amount of people at a time. But I would love to open up something obviously bigger and just be able to meet more girls, you know, hold more boot camps, and, you know, just have more activities available for, like I said, kids, even open gyms, you know, creating just something different.
I think,
Yeah.
you know, I think that I personally think you would kill it
Yeah,
if you were to
thanks.
do that. And, you know, kind of going back and you know what, just to touch base on this, like, I think on one of the stories, like, I've never seen this before, but,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, they're listening, but I actually saw on Vanessa's story, there was a lady doing stairs with a baby
Oh my
in
God,
front of
yes.
her. And was she doing stairs? I think it was stairs,
Yeah, it
right?
was Liz. I don't know if she's
And
on live, but her name's Liz.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what? Like, there's no excuse. I'm like, dude,
No.
like, there's no excuse for me not hitting stairs. You know, like I hate stairs, but I see something like that, and I'm like, what can you do? You see a woman with their, you know, newborn is small
Yeah,
baby, a
6
few
months.
months,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I see this lady, right? She's working out, and I'm just like, Jesus, like when you see something like that, like there's no excuse as to why
Yeah.
we can't do it, right?
Or I
Like,
had a girl, she was pregnant all through her pregnancy. She was coming at 4 a.m. 3 times a week, her whole pregnancy.
oh my
And
goodness.
she took 6 weeks off and then came straight back to 4 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you see you have all these women that
Yeah.
are so driven, and like, you know, it's not very common. I don't think it's very
Yeah.
common, right? Because I have friends in the industry, and like, you know, it's kind of like you kind of see the same people in the gym
Mm-hmm.
all the time, right? And sometimes you see people in the gym that have been there for years, and like you just don't notice a
Yeah.
change. And you know, so I feel like when I see stuff like this on your story, I
Yeah.
get inspired, and you
You.
know, it
Yeah.
even makes me feel like, dude, what am I doing? Like, there's literally a
I can go
lady
to the
here
gym
on
now.
stairs. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it makes me want to go hit the
Yeah.
gym, right?
Yeah.
So, but you know, kind of going back to the whole business aspect, like for anybody who would, you know, be looking into like starting their own business, doesn't
Mhm.
even have to be in like the fitness journey,
Yeah.
right? Like, because I feel like most of the time, a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, they kind of go through the same concept.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
kind of go through the same concept of like, you know, the fear of jumping from that job to just being on your own. And you know, I think there's a misconception, right, of like, you know, you work the 9 to 5 and you're like, well, I see this guy, he has all the freedom in the world, and you know, they can afford nice things. And so, you know, what's your message to like those people that are on the edge about starting their own thing, but they don't have, you know, their misconception is that they're gonna have more time for themselves, and you know, they're
You
gonna
won't.
make a killing, and they're gonna get rich,
Yeah.
and you know, and they're gonna not work as hard
Yeah.
as they are, you know, at their 9 to 5, because a lot of people have the idea that they're just making their boss richer.
Yeah.
So you know, what message would you have, or what, you know, advice would you have for these people that think, you know, the entrepreneur life is just, oh, it's easy, you get to wake up whenever you want, you get to
Yeah.
go to sleep whenever you want. What is, you know, what's your message to those
It's
people?
not easy. I would say it's worth it. Like, you definitely, if you're driven, and that's kind of the thing, is you have to have a talk with yourself and seeing if you really like what you're going to be doing, and if you are able to commit your time and energy into it and give it your all. Because at the end of the day, that's your business. So everything that comes with it, the brand, it's you. So you portray everything you do, that's you. And if you're willing to give it all, then definitely go for it. But it's not all like butterflies and sunshine. Definitely, you have to put in the work. No one sees like what you do after, right? Like, I'm at the gym and I'm posting this, and on top of that, I still go home and work, like scheduling, programming, you know, texting clients. So, but I love it. Like, I wouldn't trade it. And like I said, I did work that 9 to 5, and I thought same thing. Like, I'm gonna have more time for myself, and I could if I like cut down clients. But I love my clients, and I like to see them grow, and I want to help more people, and that's why I work as much as I do. So that's what I think like brings me happiness. But it's obviously me working more. And like I said, in this point in my life, I love it and I could do it. And that's why I continue to do it. So anyone that wants to do it, it's definitely doable, but it doesn't all come like in a year, 2 years. You definitely have to put in the work and, you know, be smart about it.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. And, I know in dealing with clients too, that's like another
Yeah.
big thing, right? Like you think about, a lot of people start because of the money, right? A lot of people are driven in starting their own thing because they're involved in the money.
Mm.
But I think if you weren't giving value back to people, I don't think the money would come, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like it's an even exchange, right,
Yeah.
of goods, right? So obviously you're bringing an immense amount of value to their
Yeah.
lives. And I know you kind of mentioned like, and I've seen this person firsthand, right? Because I go to some of these private gyms too,
Mm.
and you see a lot of people, you know, the personal trainers become friends with the clients in a
Yeah.
sense, right? And they're always talking and they're always
Yeah.
having a good time, and they don't make training so boring, right?
Yeah.
It's not very robotic, but um, you know, do you feel like you support your girls, outside of just the fitness, or
Yeah.
like how would you say you support aside from like the whole
So I
fitness
think, I
aspect?
mean, I think my whole concept on fitness is it has to be mental first. If you're not, you could be like physically ripped and healthy and all that stuff, but if you're not mentally healthy, like it's not going to work. So I think the mentality part's the hardest thing because a lot of females or clients come into it thinking they can't do it or they can't do this, and it's changing their mindset that they can do it. You could do anything you want, you just
Hmm.
need to work for it. So I think changing their mindset on that and just helping them realize like it's not all about working out, right? It's not about the number on the scale. It's how you feel, how you value yourself. And I've seen a lot of people even just starting working out, they like get promotions in their job because their confidence goes up and like, they see their self-value. I've seen people like leave relationships and it's crazy. Like I feel like I've gone through such big life moments with some of my clients, and sometimes they always joke around that I'm their therapist because we have like crying sessions sometimes, especially girls, we get on our feels, but I think it's so important that they go through these things and they're able to use the gym as an outlet because
Hmm.
what else do we have sometimes. And especially with all these moms that they have, working, taking care of their kids, the only time they get is like that hour to the gym. Sometimes they'll be like, I blast some music on the way here. That's the only hour they get to themselves. And I
Wow.
think it's awesome that we're starting to take care of ourselves because I think in order to take care of other people, especially if you have kids or like, your partner, you need to be able to like fill your own cup up before you fill others.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's very true.
Yeah.
What's up, Idol?
Question?
Not a question,
Oh.
but right now that you're on the topic, I think it'd be nice for you to hear these.
Oh.
Little Miss Get Fit said she's ready for that Be Fit empire.
That's my girl that, yeah.
And then Yesenia Moran, best trainer in OC.
Oh, that's my sister.
That's your
That's my
sister.
sister.
Yeah.
And then Bibs Ramirez.
Yeah.
V is more than a trainer, she's family.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
My
you see,
girls.
you have
Yeah.
like your support system is just so amazing, and I
Yeah, they're
think that
awesome.
makes you unique from like a lot of trainers, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen, I've been in the local,
Yeah.
private gyms from like, you know, South Orange County all the way up to like, up here in Northern Orange County, and I think like, I just never seen like a support like this, and
Thank you.
so and even on the live, right, like you get all these people that are
Yeah.
commenting great things about you, and
Yeah.
how does that make you feel like internally? I mean,
So happy. Like I said, I love my job. And I always say that, and I think people always say, like, I love my job, but I really do. And I think, like I said, you asked me how I stay motivated, and it's literally like the girls. They are coming with such great attitude, even if they have stuff going on. And it just makes me feel so happy that I'm able to, like, make a difference. And like I said, seeing them grow, not just physically, but mentally, like I said, becoming stronger in whatever aspect is so rewarding. And I think it makes sense. Like when I knew I wanted to help people, I just like didn't know back then like what I wanted to do. And I know it's like this. It just like
right.
feels good. When, and I'm sure like it feels right.
Yeah. No, I agree. And even like touching back to like the whole business aspect of it,
Mhm.
how do you feel like becoming a trainer has changed your life, maybe financially, right? And
Yeah.
and I think like everybody has their own brand and their own way of giving value to clients, but because not every trainer makes the same amount of money,
Yeah.
right? Like
Mhm.
you could be, you could have 5 trainers and they could all make 5 different type of salaries
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, how do you feel like, in the business aspect, how and financially, how has, becoming a trainer, a personal trainer, and having your own business, how has that changed your life financially, right? I know
Yeah.
you had like an amazing wedding,
Yeah.
which I attended, and
Yeah.
I thank you guys
Yeah, of
for
course.
inviting me, and you had an amazing wedding,
Yeah.
and like it's a wedding that not everybody can afford, right?
Yeah.
I've had friends get married, and it's very like, hey, let's try to keep very, very
Yeah.
small because it's
Yeah.
expensive, right?
Yeah.
Like some of these prices could get ridiculous,
Yeah.
and so you have the wedding, you have like
Yeah.
the amazing SUV. Like how has financially, how has that looked like in from the switch of like a teacher to
Yeah.
to becoming a personal
Yeah.
trainer, entrepreneur? Like how has that looked? Like would you switch it? Would you are the
Like, go
finances
back.
better now, or like
Yeah. Definitely. Like, you have the control of making how much you want, basically, right? And like I said, at the end of the day, it's like not all about the money, but definitely is a blessing to be able to have a nice wedding, and bringing all our friends and family and people that we really care about to have like this experience with us. And I think both of us working so hard has allowed us to do that and, get our dream cars and be able to do all this stuff and just honestly like save for the future and like future goals we have and, projects that we want to do. It allows us to really set ourselves up for success by having this income coming in. Yeah.
nice. And then I want to touch base on like the wedding. Like,
Yeah.
was there because I know weddings are very like I don't know if it like for men it's very like, oh, like I want it to look like this, I want it to
Yeah.
look like that. So like designing the dream wedding, right? Like
Yeah.
how does that, like, did you guys go through any stress, did you go through any stress of
Yeah.
like, oh, this is not right, like this, like how did that look like any stress that went into creating the event?
Yeah. I mean, it was stressful like all around. But I think we obviously had it in Mexico, so that obviously really helped a lot with like cost because I know weddings are insane here. But we knew we wanted a destination wedding. We love to travel. Like we
Yeah.
both work a lot, so when we get the chance to travel, we love to, and we love to like party when we do. So we just thought it'd be like a whole big party where everyone gets to go, and we don't get to do that a lot with like all our friends, and they all have kids and have lives. So we definitely appreciate everyone like taking the time to go over there. So we wanted to make it like as fun as possible. And yeah, it was all, I think it was stressful, like coordinating everything, but we did have a wedding planner out there, which like helped us tremendously. But overall, like it was definitely worth all the stress. I think just like leading up like little things, but like I said, it was like super worth it.
Nice. And
Yeah.
and I know like you had the wedding planner. I mean,
Yeah.
the wedding planners, like, do they help a lot with like
Yeah.
managing how everything's gonna happen, or?
Yeah, so they give you options, so it really helps because obviously we're here. So we took a couple trips down to like choose things, but they basically gave us like different options. We have like a mood board, so I knew, being a girl, I knew exactly kind of what I wanted and like the theme and stuff. So like I gave her that like my mood board, and they kind of come up with the whole concept of it and like basically just ask you like, do you like this or this, and give you different options. And they set up like meetings for you, and you basically just go and choose. So you still have like the pressure of choosing stuff, but they like provide it for you instead of you having to find like every vendor for everything, which I did not
see.
have time for that. So it was like really nice to just have us like options and like you choose this. And the day of, it was like amazing because I don't think we were ever bothered with anything. Like they made sure everything was set up. They made sure everything was like on a schedule,
Yeah.
which is crazy. You have a schedule for everything. But
Wow.
yeah, like we basically got to really enjoy and be present with like our friends and family that went and not have to worry about like, is this person here with this yet? Or like whatever it may be. They handled everything.
Yeah, no, I think that was very cool. Like, they had the like the pregame right before the wedding, like, or like after the wedding ceremony, right? And before we were able to like, go through the whole party aspect of it. But, everything seems so coordinated and like so well. And it's just, I've been to weddings out here, and it's, it's cool. It's in a ballroom most of the time, but this was like in an hacienda, and like it was huge, and it was very open concept, and the waiters were so like attentive. Like
Everyone loved the waiters.
I mean, I'll even tell you, like,
He was chasing you to the floor.
yeah, remember we were dancing, and like the guy literally chased us, like, hey man, you don't have anything in your
Yeah.
hand, like, here's a drink. I mean,
Yeah. The service there, you
yeah,
can't
the
beat
service, you cannot beat
Yeah.
it. It was amazing. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the, I was like, damn, like, dude, this is the type of
Like
wedding I
personal
want to
waiter.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you literally have,
Yeah,
like who does
literally.
that, right? It was
Yeah.
amazing. Like keep the party going. And, so like I said, I brought you on because I feel like you just have such, a very interesting and very influencing life on people. And, like just seeing the wedding and
Yeah.
seeing how much love and support you
Yeah.
have. I kind of wanted to bring value to people and get them to know you too, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, if you continue to do what you're doing, I think, you're probably going to get bigger than
Yeah. Thank you.
than where you are right now. And
Yeah.
I don't doubt it a single bit. Kind of, I also wanted to touch base kind of on, the whole aspect of when you have potential clients, right?
Mhm.
So when you have potential clients, is there anybody that comes by and says like, hey, like, Vanessa, like, I want you to make me like this girl, right? I want my butt to look like this,
Yeah.
or, or my
Yeah.
legs, or I
Yeah.
don't know. What do women normally like come to you with?
Yeah. The butt and the legs and the abs.
So do you make that happen for them? Do you
Well, I'm
give
not a
them?
surgeon, but we try, but I'm no surgeon. But yes, I think what I personally do is we sit down and have like an obvious game plan, that doesn't happen overnight. And the tricky thing is too, this person you might be showing me or someone's showing me, it could be photoshopped one, or it could be someone that got surgery. And that's, I think the biggest thing right now with social media is there is a lot of females that get BBLs or tummy tucks, which is totally fine. But I just think if it's not being owned up to, then it just creates, a misconception to females out there that might be starting to work out for the first time, and that's their goal. And everyone's different though. Everyone has, it could be genetic, like I said, it could be photoshopped for all we know, or they could have gotten surgeries, which like I said is totally fine, but it just isn't realistic for anyone that's just starting, right? So I think what I do is we create like, a realistic game plan, and I'm like, it's not gonna look exactly like that, but like we're gonna work there, and this is what we have to do. And I just can't do that. At the end of the day, like my workouts are not just gonna do that. You have to make sure to eat, and like building a butt is freaking hard. Like you gotta eat a lot, to do that. You basically have to bulk, and girls are uncomfortable. They're like, I don't want to eat that much. I'm like, well then you're not going to look like that, So you kind of have to explain this. And I think it's so easy because people see this on Instagram or like, these videos like, oh, you just have to do like kickbacks and like you'll get a butt. No, you don't. Like you got to do a lot more than that. So I feel like that's the social media is good and bad, but that's like kind of one of the bad parts is you have so much information on the internet that you don't know what's right or wrong. And, there's different opinions. So it just kind of gets hard, and I could see where people get really confused, and it just could be intimidating. But I feel like luckily a lot of my clients come open-minded and understand that and are willing to like, work for it, and they see results and they're like, okay, like you have to find your perfect version of yourself, and you're not going to look like anyone else. We could try, there's little things you might want to get, but like you're not going to look like, no one's going to look like someone else. It's like impossible, we can only get as close as we can, but it's just being more comfortable with your own goal, right? Someone that has a kid is going to be completely different than someone that hasn't had a kid. And that's like what I do with a lot of postpartum moms. Like you're not going to look like what you did at 18. Or I have a lot of clients that are like 30 now. I know my metabolism is so different than when I was like 18, so building muscle is so much harder, and you naturally like grow different ways, especially females. So it's so hard. Like I think we're hard on ourselves. Like I have a lot of girls that come like, I want to fit into jeans when I was like 20. I was like, that's not going to happen, or like I want to be 120. And that's a big thing. Like weight doesn't matter. You have to think about your muscle, your body fat, all that's really going to shape your body instead of just like your weight. And that's like a big thing with females. We look at our weight a lot. So it's getting out of that mindset that the weight's not important. You don't walk around with like, I'm 200 pounds or I'm 150. No one, there's models that are like 160 and they're like tiny because of how tall they are, right? You never think of them and like, oh, they're 160. And that's how I really talk to my clients and really get them to understand, like, you don't walk around like with your weight. And a lot of my clients stay the same weight, but they drop so much body fat, and you look at them and they're like completely different person. But it's they've gained so much muscle and lost so much like body fat that their whole body is like, different.
So would you say that's like, is that what they call like body composition?
Yeah. So there's different ways to measure it, but like we use the InBody, so it prints out their weight and it shows like their water, their muscle mass, their body fat. So we're actually able to see everything that goes into that weight. It's just if you see 200 pounds, that doesn't mean it's just 200 pounds of fat. It could just be 50 pounds, and they have a lot of muscle. Or I've seen girls that are tiny, like 90 pounds, but they have so much more body fat than like someone else. And like, how's that possible?
Wow.
Yeah, because it just depends, like your proportion. So that's a very good tool to be able to track. And I highly recommend to anyone that's like starting their fitness journey, because I've had girls that they literally step on the scale and they're like, oh my God, I went up 5 pounds. And they start freaking out before anything. And I'm like, okay, hold on. And they literally get off and I'm like, girl, you lost like 3% body fat and you went up 5 pounds of muscle. That's why.
Nice.
And they're like, yeah, no wonder. Like I felt great. But imagine if you're weighing yourself at home and you saw yourself go up.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
like discouraging. You don't want to work out again. You're like, what the heck? I'm doing all this right. And like, I'm going up in weight.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting
Yeah.
because for men, most of the time it's like
Men are different.
Yeah,
you guys lose weight so fast. It's not fair.
Yeah, well, even right now at my age, like, I used to be fit and I stopped going to the gym for like, 2-3 years, and it's like, dude, I gained like 25 pounds, and now it's like you said, right? Metabolism is just not the same, and everything kind of just starts dipping, right? It slows down, and now you really got to cut calories, right? Like I've been able to cut maybe like 10 pounds recently, and it was just because I literally had to eat Brussels sprouts, like Brussels sprouts for lunch, and then like maybe a little bit of rice and chicken for dinner right after a workout. But like before, I used to like, when I was a swimmer, I used to eat like, like maybe 4,500 calories a day. And like, I was like 150. I wouldn't even gain a single pound. But, but for men, it's like you go up in weight and like, you're like, yeah, like I want to be, I want to be 200, and you're like celebrating about, going up in weight. And I think that's a very interesting point, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that, women would look at the scale and say kind of like,
it's still like, and my clients, like they realize it, but it's funny because they're like, yeah, but I still want that number to go down. And I was like, okay, well then do you want to lose muscle and gain body fat? They're like, well, no. Because sometimes when you get sick, like it's such a great example, and especially females, we go through like cycles and stuff. So that affects everything. So like if you get sick, you usually don't eat, right? So if you don't eat, you're going to actually lose muscle mass and retain fat. So then they get like really upset when that happens. And I'm like, see, I told you, you wanted to lose weight, but it wasn't the good kind of weight. So it's very tricky and like overwhelming, but I try to like make it as simple as possible. And it's just really about feeling good. Like I said, my clients I have aren't like training for like, bodybuilding or any other stuff. It's really a lifestyle. I obviously have some more clients that are like more competitive and do marathons and stuff like that. But a lot of it's just lifestyle and building, that future where they're healthy, when they're 50, 60. I have clients that are 60.
No way.
Yeah. I train some clients like their moms. Yeah. It's awesome. And that's why I'm like, there's like literally no excuse. I train girls that are 21. I have clients that have never worked out before, and I train them, and I think that's awesome, just like building that foundation from the ground up, and they've had amazing results. And then I have, people that are like 50, 60, and they're killing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how does it go with like the whole, like how do you choose what workouts, is there like different, how should I say, like is there different ways that you kind of plan?
Program?
Yeah, like you programmed or you make a program different for like a 60-year-old or maybe someone who let's say you have two 25-year-old women who come to you to train, but like is there different fitness levels between both of them? Like maybe one that maybe was played soccer before or whatever, and then you have one that has never ever touched the weight in her life.
Definitely.
Like,
so
how do you go about that?
So I mean, I program like monthly, so definitely all my clients, like we basically kind of break it up by we do like legs and upper body, and depending on how many days they train with me, that's kind of how we do their workout split. But definitely if you're brand new, we go over the basics, because form is like number one. And then obviously I have clients that are like, some are trying to build muscle, some are trying to lose body fat. So definitely like if you're trying to lose body fat, we focus more on more reps, obviously a little bit more cardio. Where someone that's trying to build more muscle, we have them eat more. So they're lifting, they have to lift a little bit heavier every single time to build up that muscle mass. So like I said, it goes down to knowing your clients and really taking the time to find out their goal. And that's why initially when you meet with them, I have monthly check-ins, I have weekly check-ins with some. If we're really trying to get them ready for like their wedding or something, we dial in and we're like, okay, this is a goal for this week. This is what we're going to be working on, and really break it down to them so they also understand, right? At the end of the day, the goal is also like if they don't train with me anymore, that they're confident enough to go to the gym on their own. And I have girls that don't train with me anymore, and I see them killing at the gym on themselves, and that's great, because I feel like the gym could be intimidating for women. And I think it's awesome to see them be more comfortable and confident to go on their own, and not
Why do you think that or why do you say that the gym could be maybe like a little
intimidating.
bit intimidating for like women to go to the gym
Um,
by themselves maybe, or like
yeah, well, I think weights is scary at first. Like you don't know if the form's right. And then I know I have had instances. Obviously, a lot of men go, and I think sometimes men could be creepy. So I think that's one thing. Girls don't feel comfortable, and then just for machines, like if you think about it, if you're waiting for a machine as a female, that could be like really weird. Like if you don't know what to do, and sometimes I feel uncomfortable. Like I've gone to, I really don't go to public gyms anymore, but I've gone and like have people coming up to me like, "Are you almost done?" And I'm like, dude, I just started. And it's guys, So obviously, like I have clients that have told me like I just like leave, like I do one set and leave because they feel like uncomfortable or they're like being watched. And you think people are watching you, sometimes they're not, but like
Mhm.
you just feel like if you don't have experience with it, you feel scared and you don't know what to do and you don't feel comfortable, that you just end up leaving. And it's sad, but it's just kind of like,
Is this
yeah.
very common, like that women kind of
Oh
tell
yeah,
you about?
oh
And
yeah, all the time. And I feel that's why they feel safe, like with a trainer, right? Like I'm setting up for them. They know what to do. The gym is smaller and they just feel comfortable. They don't feel judged in any sense. Like a lot of them never worked out before. They don't feel like people are staring at them. And like I said, a lot of the times, like, I zone out at the gym. Like you might be looking at someone and not meaning to, but that could come off. It just takes one bad experience, and it does ruin it. And I feel like we already are like very hard on ourselves. So even like you can make a comment. Like I've heard like guys make comments like you're doing it wrong. Imagine that's so mean.
so
Yeah, I got him to like, oh, you're doing it wrong.
guys have actually gone to
Yeah,
girls and said, "Hey, you're
yeah,
doing that wrong."
yeah.
And what do they expect? I mean, what's the whole goal, the premise behind it?
Nothing. And unless you're trying to help and fix, but like, sometimes I see like girls doing stuff wrong at the gym, but I'm not gonna go up to them. Like part of me does, but I'm like, damn, I don't want them to take it the wrong way, and then they like
Right.
don't want to come to the gym anymore. So
Going off of that, have you ever had like clients who, and this could be like ex clients or whatever,
yeah,
but that have been hard to coach? Like you tell them like, I'm telling you to do X, Y, Z, and they're just like, no, I can't do that because my leg hurts or whatever. Like,
yeah. Well, I do. I have my stubborn clients. I still have them,
yeah,
but I love them. But it comes down to them just like thinking they can't do it. And they can. Obviously, if it's an injury, it's like totally different. But like I've literally, a lot of people are scared of like box jumps. I don't know why, but I've
box
literally
jumps.
had clients stand there and I'm like, you're not gonna move. You're gonna do it. And I sit there for 15 minutes. I'm like, you could do it. And it literally is just doing it one time. And they're like, oh yeah, it's easy. I'm like, I told you. I'll spend 15 minutes there with them. I don't care. If I know they could physically do it, I'm not gonna make them do something they can't.
Yeah.
Especially like Smith machine, like when people first start off, they're very scared of it. And I'm like, you could do it. Like I feel I'm gonna fall. I'm like, okay, well, do you want to fall with me here? Or you want to fall on your own? Like I'm here to help you. So they end up doing it, and they're like, oh my god, I remember when I couldn't do it. So it's like really cool to look back on it. But I think that's the nice thing about having a trainer there. It's like it's a safe space. Like I'd rather learn there. And like if I fall, sometimes I still fall there, and I'm like, it's fine, no one saw you. And it's so much more comfortable falling there than at a gym, and you just have to try it out.
Wow. So you've actually sat there and like
Yeah,
watched them not hit the box jump. Do they just stand there and look at the
yeah,
at the
and I think
box
it's
or?
just like I don't know, like I get it. It's like intimidating, but they'll literally like just look at it and they're like, I can't. And they're like, well, I'm like, you're fine, just jump, like you're good. And they're like, no, I'm gonna go through this wall. And I'm like, you're not gonna go through the wall. But they end up doing it and they're like, okay, now it's like it's just once. It's just a fear of like heights or whatever it may be. It just might be one time. And once they do it, they're like, okay, like I'm good.
Have you ever had someone that came and said like, Vanessa, you changed my life, or like,
Yeah.
I'm better because of you, and you changed my life, and without you maybe I wouldn't be like. Have you ever had anything like that where like you really just completely changed in someone's eyes, like you've changed their life?
Yeah, I had actually one of the comments that she said, she was on there. Yeah, she definitely like so thankful for her because I feel like I've seen her grow and I always tell her I'm so proud of her. But yeah, I just feel like we all go through stuff in life, and I'm very thankful to be part of her journey, and like her just saying that, like, and obviously seeing her grow, like I'm just happy that like I was able to be part of that and still part of her growing. But yeah, it's definitely like it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like I sometimes it just feels weird to think you've changed someone's life, but it's also really cool, you know, that you're able to be there for someone. And sometimes like I think back and I'm like, I wish someone would have been there for me to teach me certain things. So I just try to be there for them, just like I would have, you know. And I think a lot of people don't get like the fitness and like you trying to be better, even friends, you know. Like I feel back then like I didn't have a lot of friends that like to work out, and it's just really cool to see I have a lot of friends that come together and, you know, support each other, because I always think it's easier when you have someone on the same page, right? Like if your partner's like on a diet, you're gonna do better because they're on a diet, you know. But if they're like tempting you with like in and out all the time, then that gets like really hard. He made me buy him in and out.
No.
um but you know what I mean? Like if you want McDonald's all the time, like that's what they say, the relationship. Wait. But if you have someone that works out or like likes to do the same things, you're going to be more motivated, right? Same thing with friends. Like if you have friends that want to go like party all the time, it's not going to fit your lifestyle if you want to like make a change, you know, that you're going to find friends that like going on walks and hikes and all that stuff. So
I call those fun friends.
Which ones?
The fun friends, the ones that just all they care about is just
Partying?
having fun and partying. That's it. Like they're nowhere to be found other
like,
than like to party.
And it's totally fine. Like you can have friend groups that like different things. They don't need to love the same thing, but it's also really nice to have your community that you like doing that stuff, right? Like I'm sure you have friends like in business friends, and you could talk to them about business, and you have fun friends and then, you know, fitness friends. But I think that's where I really try to build a community where people feel comfortable. Like if they don't have a friend that likes to work out, they know they meet someone. And I've had friends or people that become friends just from training each other, because I have like time slots. So a lot of them work out with the same girls, and they might have never known each other before that, but they're both moms and they could like help each other out. They're like, oh, this works for me. And sometimes like I feel like my clients think I lie to them. I'm like, oh, you're looking great, or like whatever. And they're like, well, of course you're going to tell me that. But having another girl tell you like, hey, you're like killing it, you do great. That's nice, you know. And they just don't think
it
I'm
weighs
lying.
more on them.
Yeah,
right?
or like you're doing great. Like I see you working all the time, and like you have that support from people you don't know, and it's sometimes really nice to hear that from people observing, because they see you. Like whether you're passing by at the gym or like you come to my boot camps together, it's really nice to have that support and just finding other people, you know.
So I think, you know, kind of what I wanted to ask is, you know, like you become the trainer, you're so busy with your schedule. Have you had friends that maybe like you know, we all have a circle, right, of a community, you could say, of just people we've met over the span of you know, our life, and have you always had all the support from those people? Two, have you seen like a decline in those friends, maybe just, you know, as you became more successful in your life and you became busier? Did you have friends that just kind of stopped communicating with you, or maybe they stopped, you know, hitting you up, or you know?
No, I feel like honestly I'm very lucky. Like my friends are like super supportive, and I train a lot of my friends, and I think it's awesome. They are always like very supportive when I do anything like boot camps. They like, you know, share it, and you know, anything I do, like any success, they're always like very encouraging and always there. Like I said, they might like not understand it completely, but they're always there. They never back out or like act weird. So I'm very lucky that I do have like a very strong support system with like our friends. Obviously my husband and like my parents are all very, very supportive.
Nice. And then just to kind of close this out, because Haida, I think are we close to like the hour already? Yeah. Okay. So just to kind of close this out, if you know, if anybody's watching this, I know it's going to go on YouTube, and there's going to be, you know, girls who support you, and you know, some of my followers are going to go on there. If someone wants to get in touch with you with like training, and you know, even if they have to join that wait list, because I know you have a wait list. But even if they have to join the wait list, like how can they go about it? Do you have a website? Do you Instagram? Like what do you prefer?
Yeah, usually Instagram. You can like DM me. That's kind of the fastest thing I see. But I also have a link on my Instagram bio, and you could submit like a request, and I'll like text you with information, but it just has you fill out a couple questions. But DMs are always really fast. I'm usually on there responding to them. But yeah, like I said, I try to get in as many girls as I can, and I want to hopefully be able to train so many more girls. So don't feel like you can't reach out to me. You could always, the worst thing is like you're on the wait list, and I swear I'll try to get you in as quick as possible, and sometimes it happens, you know. So
yeah. So if you guys want a consultation, I know we love to call it that in business, but if you guys want to DM Vanessa or have a consultation, go ahead and DM her on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Vanessa, I think the handle is we'll put it on the bio, obviously,
Vanessa
on the
Puga
link.
Fit.
But it's Vanessa Puga Fit.
We changed it.
All right, we changed the last name. It's no longer Moran.
No.
It's Puga. So
Yeah.
yeah, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed our very first podcast here.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Vanessa. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure. Thanks
you
for
for having
coming
me.
to my house here. And
Yeah.
you know, there's very few people I trust, obviously, and I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. It
All
was
right.
a great experience. Thank you.
Thanks.